Hey guys, it's Chantel from Fanlala, and I'm here with the lovely Dove Cameron.
Hi.
And we're gonna find out some fun details about what's going on with her. My first question is, tell us how it was to shoot Descendants.
Descendants was one of the craziest things that I've done in my entire life. Like, it felt like a literal, like, it felt like a, it was an experience. Like, it was like the Descendants experience, because it was musical. I had to learn how to dance, which was something that I really had to like learn how to do. Everybody else involved was like, I've just been dancing since I was in the womb, and you know, I starred actually in my own, I directed and choreographed it. I was like, I don't even know how to like do a box step, so I had to learn how to do that, which was really intense but really amazing, because it was, you know, led by the incredible Kenny Ortega, who's this like angel, amazing
What kind of dancing?
Artist. It was, well, we danced to a dubstep breakdown, which I didn't think was a real thing, but it looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
I just recently saw the movie, and it was one of those things where it was like, it was such like long days, and there was so much put into those days that like we would get home at the end of the day and we'd be like, what happened? And then we'd be like, was that yesterday or the day before? And so it was like, we never really, it was just like one long day over the course of like 2 months. So it was a mix of like, I mean, I don't really know what I'm gonna pretend like I know it. Modern and tap and jazz. No, it was like, it was hip hop and it was modern, and it's really hardcore dancing.
That's so much fun.
Which was hard for me. And then we had one of Michael Jackson's like people who came with him on tour for everything dancers right behind me for the literal entire film. And I was like, just like add one more way to make me look really untalented.
I'm sure it's great. We're really excited because I think that's such a cool concept to take the kids of the villains. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of like Wicked, where it's like you get the other side of things. Yeah. And then we also have Kristen Chenoweth, so it's like doubly like Wicked.
If you could be any other villain, who would you be? And what do you love most about Disney villains?
These are good questions. No one's ever asked me that. If I could be like another villain's descendant, like their kid? Or
Either
just,
or.
Yeah, okay.
Either or.
I would really love to be the Queen of Hearts' daughter, which I don't think we even have in the movie, because there's a lot of, like we have a lot of like the main characters are all descendants of like the ones that are really prevalent in all of the Disney films, but we have a couple like Disney parents and Disney kids off to the side that we kind of acknowledge once or twice that are kind of like Easter eggs, like they said the thing. But I don't think we have Queen of Hearts descendant. I don't know if she would have a son or a daughter, but I think I'd love to be her. But what do I love most about Disney villains? Funny thing is, and I'm not just saying this because we shot the movie and this is like a good thing for me to say, I always wanted to be Maleficent whenever I watched Disney movies, because I had this really amazing father figure type man in my life named Stephen Fogel, who cast me in my first play, and he was like my best friend growing up, and we were really tight, and we would always watch all these Disney movies together. And I told him that I only ever wanted to play the bad guy because the bad guys were so much more complicated. And we had this obsession with Maleficent. He would always put up this huge like Maleficent statue that he created during Halloween, and that was like our thing. So I think that's what I love most about them, just that they're complex. And my favorite thing about any villain, not just Disney villains, is the fact that no one in real life is actually 100% good or 100% bad. People are not characters, and they're not books, and they're not traits or words. And so in order to play a character that is drawn very black and white, you have to inject them with a bunch of layers to make them believably bad. And so like villains are not really villains at all. They're just like severely damaged people. So you have this like really hefty backstory that you get to play with.
I love when I like see a really good actor, but they're bad. Like they're not a bad actor, but you know what I mean. Like they're just evil.
Yeah.
You still like them.
Oh yeah.
But and that's how you know they're really good, if you like them and they do evil things.
Right.
You know?
And that's something that you really have to like think about and work on as like a, and that's the other thing, is that the leads of this film are evil, but you can't hate them because otherwise why would you watch the movie?
Right.
And so the whole time Kenny kept interjecting like these things that would make them more relatable as a descendant of someone who's supposed to be pure evil and someone who has magical powers, like something that is so untouchable and not anything like what we experience like in our daily lives, to make that relatable, I think is a huge challenge. And that, I think, yeah, that's my favorite part about villains and playing a villain.
So tell us how it was working on Barely Lethal. It looks like so much fun.
So Barely Lethal is outside the channel, and it's actually the first film that I've done outside the channel up until a film that I just finished in Canada called Monsterville. And it was a completely different experience. And it was with Haley Steinfeld, who's a cutie, and Jessica Alba, who I've always wanted to work with, and Samuel L. Jackson,
So
who's like the
cool.
nicest person that I think I've met in the industry ever. But the premise of Barely Lethal is really cool. It's sort of like Skyfall meets Mean Girls. So it basically, Haley Steinfeld's character has been trained to be an assassin spy since she was an infant. And Samuel L. Jackson is the leader, which is like, this is the funniest casting ever. He's the leader of this like covert ops training facility for orphaned girls, and he raises them into these like killing machines, sort of like Hit Girl in Chloe Moretz's role. And so they start at birth, and they're trained to like disable bombs at age 4, and like train like in like 8 different ways to use a pen to kill somebody by age like 10, and like they're like they're like these psychopaths. And Haley Steinfeld's character is the best one in the business, but she's the only one that hasn't been able to emotionally detach, and she's never killed anybody, and she's super like, I respect human life, you know, like I don't want to be here, and everybody else is really into it. Samuel L. Jackson is like, you know, please, you know, you gotta go out there and do the hardest missions, and she's like, I want to go to high school, and I want to have a boyfriend, and she like sneaks 17 magazine and like all like 10 things I hate about you and stuff like that. She's like really into the teen culture, and so she goes out on this mission against Jessica Alba, because like who else? And she goes down, and she fakes her own death to get out of the training program. And they're like, oh, she's down, sucks, we lost her. And so then she taps into like the deep web and assigns herself as a foreign exchange student into my house, Liz Larson's house, to start going to school at my high school, at this like normal middle America high school, because like all she really wants is to be normal. And then drama ensues because like the FBI find her, and then like I get pulled into it, and like I can't really tell you what I do at the end, but I have an action sequence.
You kick
and
some
that was,
butt?
Oh yeah, I take somebody down. But yeah, it's a really, really cool movie, and it's super, super, super funny. And like you can always tell when it's funny, like when you were there and you laugh about it later, you know? Like, yeah. So Kyle's a genius. Everybody who worked on it was really passionate about it, and I'm really excited for everybody to see it.
Yeah, I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, that's gonna be like an action movie.
I know.
This is so cool.
I'm really excited.
So how does it feel to have a season 3 of Liv and Maddie now?
Really exciting, and also really surreal, because like I could have sworn that we just started filming season 1, like just recently. So it's been really crazy, because I don't know, see, the leap between, it's like turning 14 and then turning 15 is not as huge of a leap as turning 14 and then turning 16. You're like, that's a difference. So when we started filming season 2, it was like, you know, it sort of just felt like it was a continuation of season 1, but now season 3 is like, we're established, we're not the new kid on the block anymore. So it's, I don't know, it's an adjustment. I think it's gonna hit me once I'm actually there. But yeah, it feels really, really good, and I'm really excited to like see the people who are my family again.
Right. What's the most challenging part about playing your own twin?
The most challenging part about playing my own twin is to not let my own habits infect the characters, because then if this was something that I worked on a lot in the beginning that I think I've kind of like massaged all the kinks out of now, but I was super paranoid, because in the beginning, the channel and I didn't really know how we were gonna spin the whole me playing 2 people thing, because we didn't know how people were gonna react. You know, we got mixed reactions, with a lot of people feeling like, you know, they were tricked or something, because the whole intent was to, because this started out as a completely different show with me playing one girl, and then when it transformed into me playing twins, there wasn't like a casting call sent out for twins, and I never auditioned for either twin. And so there were like the whole idea, because the head of the network was a really big fan of the Patty Duke show, and so he'd been wanting to do this concept for a very long time. So it was supposed to be that way from the very start. But we got a lot of people who really got the concept and who were really on board, and they were like, oh, that's so neat, like what a weird, interesting twist on a show. And then we also got a lot of people that like didn't get it, didn't really mesh with it, and so we wanted to take our time with explaining how it works and explaining that I am just one actress. So I was really paranoid in the beginning about making sure that nobody could tell that I was just one actress. And so all of my like little habits, like I personally do this weird claw thing when I talk with my hands. Like I just noticed that. I'm like, yeah, I just talk like this, like a gremlin. But like I had to become really aware of that stuff for me personally, because then I didn't want to accidentally get too comfortable and then have both twins do the same thing. Yeah. Because then it's really noticeable. And so I had to develop all of these weird little like quirks and habits for both characters. Like Liv is really expressive with her bottom lip when she's sad, and Maddie gets really like upper lip. And it's like all those things that
these little details.
I sound like a crazy person talking about, but I think that's why I feel like that's the kind of stuff that like makes the show work for me. Like personally, I think that's what makes it easier. It's just like really expressive characteristics, and that was probably the hardest part in the beginning.
Right, you have to be two different people and yourself in real life.
Right.
Like
right, but then they couldn't be too dissimilar because they were sisters and they were raised together.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah. Very talented.
Thank you.
Yeah. So recently you just decided to take a little break from social media, and so I was wondering, you know, you took some time for yourself. How was that? Why did you do it? What do you think you learned, you know, while you take that break? Because I know social media is so addicting. Yeah. So, you know, how was that for you? It
was honestly the reason why I did that, and the reason why I'm probably going to continue, because I don't know, I mean, you know, whenever this is going to air, I posted something today, I tweeted a couple things today, I posted, you know, I'm still going to continue to use social media. When I say I'm going to take a break, that doesn't mean like 2 weeks or a month or anything like that. That usually honestly just means a day to 3 days. But I feel like, you know, I don't want to flip out my fans and make them think I don't care about them or something like that, because that's truly what social media is about for me, is the fan connection. And I have just taken breaks without giving my fans a warning, and I have noticed that, you know, they start to feel like I'm ignoring them or something like that, and I really wanted to be clear with the reason why I was doing that. And it has absolutely no bearing on how much I love my fans, because I love my fans more than anything. But the reason is because, like, mentally, and I actually think this is good for everybody, anybody who uses social media, not just actors and actresses. But I noticed that when I have a thought that I feel like I want to express because it's interesting, or it's, you know, I think maybe it's funny, or it's just like a conversation starter, my first instinct is to type it out and send it rather than express it to the people around me, or write it down for myself to think about, or put it in my journal. And, you know, when I take a photo, it's because I know other people are going to see it. It's not because that's a beautiful sunset. It's like, oh, I need to take a picture of the sunset so that I can show people this beautiful sunset. And that just started to kind of upset me, that was like how my brain has been wired now. And I wanted to do more things for me, because I think that aligns your value system with more honoring yourself rather than having your values be outside of yourself, which I think is healthier for your relationship with you. So I just did that for a day or two, and then I missed everybody, so I went back on. But I don't think that's something that's ever going to really stop, because my relationship with myself and my values are all way more in line when I have an inner dialogue with me, and when there are certain things that only I will see, and when I'm writing more and things like that, you know. And I want to be more connected to the people around me, and that those don't need to be subbed out for one another. You know, I feel like you can do both. You just have to have an even hand, and I wasn't doing that. But I'm finding a really good balance, because I don't want to leave my fans alone.
Yeah,
I definitely
yeah.
don't want to diminish that relationship either because they mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
So I'm finding that right now.
Finding that balance.
Yeah.
That's good. This one is, what song do you like to listen to when you're having a bad day? And then if you could sing a little sample, I'll dance and try not to fall on this rug.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, the first thing that came to my mind, because my relationship with music is that I find something, I become obsessed with it, I listen to it 46 times while like working out, and then I'm like, this is the best song that's ever been written, and then I hate it. Because I'm like, oh, nobody play it around me. I like make it my ringtone, and I'm like, I can't listen to it anymore. Yeah, I ruin things for myself. But the first thing that came to my mind when you said that was Shut Up and Dance. Do you know that song by Walk the Moon? Shut up and dance for me. Oh, it's so good. You have to hear it.
I've seen it on iTunes.
Yeah.
But I didn't click on it.
So good.
It's so, okay.
But also, right now, I gotta give a little shout out to my girl, Allison Stoner, who is doing a movie with my boyfriend, Ryan. And she just had a single drop called Pretty Girls. Oh my goodness gracious. I downloaded it while I was at the gym last night and I put it on repeat, and it hasn't, like, the hook is so good, it hasn't left my head. So like waking up to that is like, it's so well produced. She has an amazing voice. It's ridiculous. Have you heard it?
I have not heard it,
Oh,
but I have watched her dance for so long. So when I just think of her, I think
Fire.
anything she puts out has to be probably, you know, that you can groove to, because she can dance like no other.
Yeah,
See Elliot dancing.
the video is amazing. She's so freaking good. It's like, pretty girls learn to work it early. I can't do it like she can, but it's so good.
That sounded good. That sounded good.
Yeah.
I know you love to sing, and you know, Broadway, I know you're totally, you know, into that. What is your dream role on a musical?
Okay. When I was younger, okay, so growing up, I was obsessed with Jekyll and Hyde, which is not a super like commercial musical. It's not like Wicked or Rent where like everybody knows about it. But it's amazing. And Linda Eder was like I don't know why this is happening a lot today. This is me aligning myself.
You're aligning yourself.
I'm centering myself with my opinion. Linda Eder and Kristen Chenoweth were my two like goddesses, my Broadway goddesses. And I really wanted to play Lucy in Jekyll and Hyde, which is a really dark role. Just like my first audition for a musical, I sang a song from that, and that musical really resonates with me, and it's gorgeous. But then also, the first soundtrack I ever heard after Rent was Wicked, and Kristen Chenoweth was playing in my car since age 7, which is over 10 years now that I've been like crazy about her. Yeah. So I've always really wanted to play Galinda. I still really want to play Galinda because Wicked's still going.
I was
really
gonna say, you
do it.
remind me of her because your energy and your sarcasm, like it just, and you're blonde, but I mean, I guess people can dye their hair, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I was obsessed with not only the role but also her, and she was like, yeah, my role model, and so I still would really love to do Galinda. I heard they're making a movie, but I also heard that like 7 years ago, so I don't know if that's just been in the rumor mill forever, or if Wicked the movie is really a thing, but like, oh my gosh.
I wouldn't be surprised. That would be amazing.
But now I've seen Frozen too many times, and so I also really want to play either Elsa or Anna, so. I don't know, I want it all.
Those are all
really
good ones, though.
selfish. I love the stage, I love Broadway. I don't know, I really, really want to do Broadway.
Yeah, you would be, oh my God, you'd be amazing at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe in the future you can focus on that.
I know, if they'd let me, if they'd allow me on Broadway.
Yeah. How did you know that Ryan liked you?
How did I know that Ryan liked me? Okay, so I am the geekiest of geeks, and I'm also really shy, and Ryan's also my first boyfriend. And like all throughout school, all these girls would be like 15 and 14 and 11, and they're like, oh yeah, it's my second boyfriend of the school year. And I'd come home and I'd be like, Mom, boys don't like me. Like I thought there was something wrong with me because like I never had a boyfriend, but I was just like really shy. I never talked to anybody, and just like wasn't right. It was, you know, that's the kind of stuff that you can't force. But Ryan is a super aloof guy. Like, he's really goofy, but by nature, he's really, like, mysterious. And, like, I was like, you're so cool. Like, I was like, Miss Geeky Sunshine over here. And I was like, you looked at me. And so I would come home every day and, like, analyze what he did at work with my mom. I kid you not, this is so sad. But I would come home. We, like, went to Six Flags. The whole cast went to Six Flags one day. I can't believe I'm telling you guys this. We went to Six Flags one day, and I came home, and my mom was like, so, because she knew I was like mad crushing on this guy who played Diggy on Liv and Maddie, and and it was like the first all cast outing where he was there too, and I was like, and I like started crying, and I was like, I don't think he likes me. I was crazy about him. I'd never had this feeling before. I was crazy about him. I'd never been crazy about any other boy. I'm so geeky, you guys. It's so sad, but like, I was like, he didn't even look at me all day. It was like I didn't exist. Yeah, and I was being so, like, you know, it's not like he like had to like me. I was just like, I was crazy about him.
Wanted him to.
Yeah, and he didn't even, and he didn't even look my way. And it turns out later he was doing that on purpose because he thought I was cute. And so he was trying to like keep his distance and like seem cool, and that was like his defense mechanism. And I was like dying. I was like, I'm gonna be alone forever. It's only Ryan. And so I was the one chasing him. Usually it's the guy chasing the girl, but not this one.
You're like, I know what I want. I'm getting it.
I know. Everyone's like, how did Ryan ask you out on the first date? And I'm like, I asked him. Yay. No, but. We went out on our first date when he was having a really hard day, and we'd literally been nothing but friends, platonic, like distance. We didn't even like hug until this night, and she was having a really hard day, and he was like, hey, do you want to go out for ice cream with me after work? And he was really nonchalant about it, sort of like, I don't care if it's you or, you know, Joey or whoever, you know. I just need to go out. I don't want to be alone tonight. And I was like, okay. And we ended up going out to Frozen Yogurt, and then to coffee at this coffee shop, and then he took me to this like lookout, and then he took me home, and you know, it was like, thanks for coming out with me tonight. And then he was like, do you want to go hiking with me at 6 in the morning tomorrow, like 5 hours from when you drop me off? And I was like, yeah, yes, I want to hang out with you all the time. And then when we went to lunch, he told me, like point blank, when I was in the middle of telling some really embarrassing story, I was like blabbering on, being like, I'm with him and we're alone. He told me point blank, he's like, you know that relationships either end in a breakup or in marriage, and that's why people date. And I was like, what? Like, he interrupted me to say that. And I was like, what is that even, what? And I was totally oblivious this whole time that he was spending time with me on purpose.
Yeah.
And then he was like, do you want to go out with me? And I was like, what? And like, my dreams came true, and birds flew, and we've been together ever since. I'm the least.
Oh, that's so cute.
I never wanted, like, I always was sad that like I never had a boyfriend, but I never wanted a boyfriend. You know, girls, impossible to please.
And we're difficult.
Yeah, but then Ryan was the one who just won my heart. He didn't even have to try. I had to try really hard. but then he was like, I've had feelings for you forever. And I was like, oh.
You're like, good. What was your first kiss with Ryan like? Just like,
so, okay. Okay. So we went to this park because he's just like Romeo, and he was like I'm so grossed out by how like cute he is. I'm serious. But he picked me up one day from my apartment, and he had a car, and he's like a hot older boy. And this was back before we were like really dating. We were just sort of like, you know, seeing what happened. And he took me to this park underneath a tree at sunset, and he brought his guitar, and he was like, do you want to come write songs with me in a park? And I was like, okay. I was like, you're what movies are about.
This is a movie.
I know, and I was like, yeah, I know. I was sitting there literally just like, it was like, I don't even know how I have a boyfriend still, because I'm still like that. But I was like sitting there like fangirling over who he was as a person, and I don't know why the answers to your questions are up here. No, but so yeah, and he's like sitting under this tree, like playing this guitar, and I've written songs before, but he was like, what do you think should come next? And I was like, what do you think should come next? And he was like, you're not helping. And I was like, I'm so nervous. And then he did that thing where like, you know, like kiss me on the cheek. And so I like leaned in to kiss him on the cheek, and then he turned his head really quickly and kissed me because he knew that I was too shy to just kiss him. And so he like tricked me into it. And then I apparently like, I don't remember this because in my mind it was magic and sparkled, but I apparently like turned away really quickly and like squealed and then like turned bright red. Like I was 17, I was not 11, but I was like ah! I know, I was like, boys, ew. No, but like I was just so shocked, and like in my mind, like Ryan McCartan, like this like 6-foot infinity, like dark, like coiffed hair guy would never want to be with like me. And so I was really embarrassed, and he said that like that was like the moment that he knew that he was gonna like have feelings for me for a long time. He was like, I totally fell for you when you freaked out when I kissed you. He tells that story a lot better than I do because I make myself sound like a gremlin and he makes it sound really cute, as does most of our relationship go that way. But yeah, that was it was actually a really cute moment.
And then the last question is from Dove Navy.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so fans are wanting a Liv and Maddie movie. What is your ideal plot?
I actually have thought about this before, and let me see if I can go in the deep recesses of my mind to figure out what the plot was. I think the plot was, I really want to travel. So I really want to like have a place in Paris or something just so I can be in Paris for 2 months. So that's selfish. But like if Liv were to go on tour and Maddie were to go like to Olympic basketball training camp, and they were to be separated for a summer, and it was like, you know, I think it's like a cutaway, like I think it's gonna be really good for us to be separated for a while. And you know, maybe Diggy goes to camp with her so that we can get some more Diggy Maddie storylines, because I think those are super cute. And you know, maybe Holden, who's a new character on Liv and Maddie, performs with Liv. That would be really fun. But then something happens to Liv's voice and Liv can no longer perform, but the tickets can't be refunded because she has like this crazy manager that's like, we need this money to do the whatever. And so Maddie has to come in like Liv and lip sync to all of Liv's pre-recorded stuff. And then Diggy gets involved somehow, and then people are like, Liv's dating Diggy, when really it's just Maddie. And then Liv is seen somewhere else. Like, I see this all in my head. This makes sense.
That's good.
Yeah, and it all takes place in Paris, and there are a lot of very obvious shots in front of the Eiffel Tower, so that we cannot do it at a studio in LA.
Just
and we
casual
have to be,
shots.
Yeah. I'm performing on top of the Eiffel Tower.
Whatever.
And I just, you know. I've actually thought about that. I think that'd be really fun. So, Liv and Maddie writers, I feel like.
While it lights up too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you just get like a montage of me going all throughout Paris, and we spend half the shoot just getting that. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching, and for more on me, if you're still interested, be sure to subscribe for more videos.